Shonen Jump has seen so many titles come and go, and there is a hole left each time this happens in the industry. Back in the day, people were freaking out when Naruto and Bleach ended shortly one after the other, and it seemed like the Shonen Jump magazine was in deep trouble, seeing its big stories end in short succession. Recently, a similar thing has happened with My Hero Academia and Jujutsu Kaisen ending shortly one after the other in the same year. And I'll admit, for shonen fans like me who like what this legendary magazine has offered us all throughout the years, seeing it in an unclear, ambivalent situation is a bit worrying. But Weekly Shonen Jump has once again rectified this problem with new mangas that seem to be the next big thing, much like how they did after Naruto and Bleach ended and we saw the rise of My Hero Academia and Black Clover, and soon after mangas like Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen tagged along to join them in the big leagues. And right now I'm confident saying that we are seeing the first phase of that same phenomenon, with titles such as Ichi the Witch and Kagurabachi taking all of the boxes to be Shonen Jump's next big thing. Also, obviously, One Piece is there, and it has always been there for more than 25 plus years, and it is still going strong. But for most of its history, One Piece didn't stand on its own. In the early 2000s, One Piece was standing at the top with the likes of Hunter x Hunter and Death Note. In the late 2000s, One Piece was in the big three alongside Naruto and Bleach. In the 2010s, it was standing along Emichi and Black Clover, then Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen, so it is still concerning for me when One Piece is the only being ongoing IP in Shonen Jump, and Kagurabachi and Ichi the Witch are looking like the next manga that will be there alongside it. But what is it about Ichi the Witch and Kagurabachi that is making them this popular? Well, there are several reasons, but before we get into them, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to like the video, and without further ado, let's get back into the video. Ichi the Witch already had the advantage of being popular compared to other mangas because of the people who are making them. The artist for Ichi the Witch is Shiro Usazaki, who was renowned for illustrating Act Age, a manga that was on the cusp of greatness only to be annihilated off the face of the earth by the writer of that manga, who turned out to be a criminal by doing things I don't want to get in this video. So after that, Act Age got disgracefully cancelled because of its writer, and Shiro Osozaki was robbed of her breakthrough as a manga artist. But she has made her grand return with the story of Ichi the Witch, and the writer who's going to be working alongside her this time is none other than Osamu Nishi, who is the creator of the wonderful manga Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun, which is an absolutely amazing story which has a great anime adaptation. And for those of you who want a light-hearted, fun comedy show to watch, I 100% recommend Iruma-kun because it is that good. Now we have two mangakas who are already established starting a new manga, so just by the virtue of their names, readers are going to be excited for what they have to offer with this new story of theirs. But we already know that being an established name in the manga industry is not enough to create a huge hit. We've already seen what happened with Masashi Kishimoto, the creator of Naruto, when he set out to do a new manga with Samurai 8. It didn't go so well. Being an established name in the industry will initially give your story a boost, but it won't take you all the way to being a big hit. So when everybody was hyping up Ichi the Witch because of Osamu Nishi and Shiro Suzaki were going to be working on them, I held back my enthusiasm because I know how cutthroat Jump could be and cancel a manga if it doesn't do so well. So I read the first chapter of Ichi the Witch and I liked it, but me liking it didn't eradicate the skepticism I had for the story actually working, let alone become a big hit. Unlike with Kagurabachi, which gripped me from its first couple chapters, Ichi the Witch didn't do that for me. I did like it, but I didn't love it. And then chapter 16 happened. I won't spoil what happens in that chapter, but boy did that chapter sell me on Ichi the Witch. And not only that, there are characters that I already adore Chihiro in this manga, even though this manga at the time of recording of this video is still in its infancy. Characters like Descaris, who I was not so hard on in earlier chapters, now I really love. For those of you who want me to describe Descaris without spoiling much, she's basically the Satoru Gojo of this manga and I really enjoy her. There are some unexpected wholesome moments in the story with Ichi and her that I found heartwarming, and it especially hit because on the surface she appears to be a vain person, but that's not all there is to her. Also, the scenes in the story where there was high danger and her personality switches up to protect her pupils from the threats were phenomenal, and I hope to see more of it. Also, Ichi himself, I really like the psychotic tendencies he has and his insane obsession he has to his craft. This separates him from being a generic shonen protagonist, and it helps you get attracted to his character and tag along this journey alongside him. Ichi the Witch is a very lighthearted story compared to Kagurabachi. I talked in depth about Kagurabachi in my other video, I'll leave a link to it, but in that video I stated that I was impressed with Kagurabachi because it managed to pull off a protagonist who is not a cheerful guy most of the times. Even darker shonen protagonists like Yuji Itadori, Ichigo Kurosaki, and even Tanjiro exhibit cheerfulness from time to time, and the fact that Chihiro is not that and it still works was impressive. But when it comes to Ichi, he too is not the type of character who is a happy-go-lucky guy. He is consumed by his obsession, and the fact that Ichi the Witch as a story is lighthearted even though there are dark themes explored in the story might throw you off from seeing this dark side of Ichi, and I like this creative choice for Ichi. Kagurabachi is more popular of the two. The manga is selling like crazy, even though few volumes of it are out. Compared to Ichi the Witch, it is the manga that you can more confidently bet your money on to be a big hit. I've heard there were insane bidding wars between animation studios to adapt the Kagurabachi story, and it was decided that a studio called Saigame Pictures was going to adapt the manga to an anime. I saw the works that this anime studio has done, and there hasn't been many notable anime I recognized, but I'm still not worried because Shonen Jump almost guarantees that their mangas that get a lot of hype always gets a proper adaptation. We've seen this with Chainsaw Man, Jujutsu Kaisen, and Demon Slayer. All this new gen hit manga are getting insane anime adaptations, so I don't see any reason for that not to happen to Kagurabachi as well. Also, the fact that so many high profile animators are eagerly awaiting to work on Kagurabachi is a huge green flag for the anime adaptation. But I'll be honest, my wish was for Studio Ufotable to adapt Kagurabachi. I know they are busy with adapting Demon Slayer, but in my opinion, Kagurabachi has the art style that Studio Ufotable likes to go for when choosing mangas to adapt. I have a theory that of all the stories Studio Ufotable chose to adapt, they picked Demon Slayer not because of the content of the story, but the art style. Because before the anime adaptation of Demon Slayer, the manga of Demon Slayer wasn't that hot. It was only after the insane first season of the anime that the manga started to get traction. And I strongly believe Kagurabachi's art style is one that Studio Ufotable will love to work on, but they are very busy adapting the Demon Slayer movie, so it's understandable. One thing that I find fascinating about Kagurabachi and Ichi the Witch leading the next era of Jump is that there are two contrasting stories. Kagurabachi leaning towards the darker side and Ichi the Witch leaning to the lighter side, and it would be interesting to see if these mangas will have overlapping readers or they will each have their own audiences. And another thing I find fascinating and respect about both of this manga is that they lean hard on their respective tones, so much that I fear they might alienate their audiences. With Kagurabachi being dark than most shonens of this new gen era, even to the likes of Jujutsu Kaisen, you've got Chihiro here, the protagonist of Kagurabachi, who hasn't even smiled once, but maybe that's just me. I'm not comparing it to Chainsaw Man's tone because that story is unhingedly dark that it deserves its own category. And with Ichi the Witch in this new gen era where the big hits are darker and edgier shonens like Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, and even stories like Dandadan, the fact that Ichi the Witch is unapologetically lighthearted is a bold decision vision that I respect. Light-hearted shonens that have become popular that come to mind is Black Clover. Other than that, it's One Piece. Maybe there are some that I'm not mentioning right now, but you can take a look at any other shonen, especially in the new gen era. There is some degree of age to them. But we have to wait and see if this strategy will work for Ichi the Witch or if it will change its trajectory as the story progresses. Final thoughts, these are the mangas that are looking like they're going to inherit the throne from Jujutsu Kaisen and My Hero Academia. Both are great shonens that I'm enjoying right now, and if you haven't checked them out, I highly recommend them. If you've made it this far into the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and also like the video, and with that said, see you guys in the next one.